Gentlemen over 60, pay close attention. If you awaken and find your manhood feeling subdued, if that reliable morning vigor you used to rely on has gradually diminished, I need you to grasp something that the majority of men never learn from their physicians. You are not damaged. The sensations you are experiencing do not signal the conclusion of your energy. They merely indicate your body has grown quiet, awaiting the appropriate cue to awaken once more. I am Dr. Julia Morgan, a board-certified urologist boasting more than 15 years of expertise in assisting men to naturally revive their vitality, circulation, and self-assurance without relying on hazardous medications or invasive treatments. Today, I am here to reveal something that might entirely transform your perspective on your own body. 2 straightforward pressure points capable of reviving your circulation, your responsiveness, and your innate morning power. These spots assist your body in recalling its original purpose. Prior to diving in, I would like to connect with you. Share with me the location from which you are viewing. Men from every corner of the globe are uniting in this group. From the United States to India, from Nigeria to Canada. We have all gathered here for one shared purpose: to remain robust, assured, and brimming with life beyond 50. So pause for a moment, type your country into the comments, and let us commence this journey as one. Here is the reality that escapes most men entirely. The disappearance of morning erections stems not from advancing years. It occurs when the link between your brain, nerves, and blood vessels begins to loosen. Consider your body akin to a room within your home. The electricity remains available. The connections function as before, but the toggle has lingered untouched for an extended period. The instant you engage that toggle, illumination floods back without delay. That is precisely the mechanism of your body. The energy has resided within you all along. You merely require a nudge to your system on how to harness it once more. Throughout the years, I have encountered men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who were convinced that aspect of their existence had vanished irretrievably. But once they discovered the method to rouse the concealed toggles governing blood flow and nerve impulses, a profound shift commenced. Their self-assurance resurfaced, their vigor enhanced. They began to carry themselves with greater poise, sense greater robustness, and rekindle bonds with their partners anew. I recall one of my patients, Harold, a 74-year-old retired teacher. He once confided in me, "Doc, I no longer concern myself with performance. I simply desire to feel vibrant once more." For 3 weeks, he applied the techniques I demonstrated. No drugs, no devices, merely soft pressure, steady breathing, and mindful attention to his form. Then, one morning, Harold phoned me and declared, "Dr. Morgan, I awoke feeling like my former self again." His account reinforced for me that men do not forfeit their manhood as time passes. They merely forfeit the cue that instructs their body to react, and that cue can invariably be revived. Within your pelvis lies an intricate web of arteries, veins, and nerves. These collaborate to deliver oxygen, heat, and feeling across your entire form. Yet after decades marked by prolonged sitting, accumulated stress, and superficial breathing, these channels begin to doze off. It is not lasting harm. It is merely a severance. And the most encouraging aspect is that you can re-establish those links naturally via 2 potent pressure points and the suitable form of respiration. You can reinstate the dialogue between your mind and your physique. You require no costly gear or perilous therapies. You need only steadfastness, regularity, and mindfulness. By the conclusion of this video, you will precisely identify the locations of these 2 points, the safe manner to engage them, and the minor indicators to observe as your body starts to stir anew. You will also discover how merely 5 minutes daily can reinvigorate circulation, responsiveness, and the subtle power that characterizes a vital man. This is not a pursuit of youth. It is a reclamation of command. For when you comprehend the true operations of your body, you cease feeling aged and commence feeling invigorated once more. Remain with me. In the coming moments, I will reveal the position of the initial concealed toggle and the method to employ it for restoring the energy, self-assurance, and vitality you believed had departed. The initial cue that governs your vitality originates in a spot few men ever consider. It rests unobtrusively between your scrotum and your anus, a modest region that medical texts term the perineum. In Eastern traditions, it is revered as the root of life. And that designation holds no hyperbole. This compact zone functions as a master toggle, the first pressure point, the root, that oversees the circulation of blood and neural transmissions to your whole lower region. When it falls inactive, the entire apparatus diminishes. When you rouse it, blood flow resumes, sensitivity heightens, and your self-assurance starts to ascend anew. Allow me to clarify the reason for this. Beneath this zone reside two vital components, the bulbospongiosus muscle and the pudendal nerve. In unison, they serve as the primary regulatory mechanism for your erections. The muscle facilitates the influx of blood into the erectile tissues, while the nerve conveys the directive from your brain to initiate activation. With the passage of time, as men remain seated excessively, tense their pelvic muscles without awareness, or neglect that zone entirely, these transmissions wane. The toggle persists, yet no one engages it. Here is the way to commence reactivating it. Position yourself on a softly rolled towel or a compact cushion situated right beneath this zone. You ought to sense mild, uniform pressure. No discomfort, no effort, just a gentle touch. Maintain your spine erect, your shoulders at ease, and inhale gradually via your nose. Concentrate on permitting your abdomen to expand and contract. Refrain from forcing, from contracting. Merely permit your weight to settle into that location. As you remain seated in silence for several minutes, you may detect heat, a prickling sensation, or a faint rhythm. That represents your body's method of indicating that the pathway is reestablishing itself. One of my patients, Thomas, a 71-year-old veteran, shared something unforgettable with me. He remarked, "Doc, it seemed as though the illumination had extinguished down there ages past. I had ceased anticipating any functionality." Following a handful of days with this routine, he contacted me and stated, "I sense a rhythm once more. Something is reviving." That instant altered his world entirely. For once a man perceives even the faintest glimmer of vitality resurfacing, his whole outlook shifts from despair to potential. This marks the juncture where most men comprehend that maturation is not the issue. Severance is. The perineum operates akin to a regulator. When it is at ease and unobstructed, blood circulates unbound. Nerves convey distinctly, and your body recalls its operational mode. When it is constricted or disregarded, the movement decelerates, much like a conduit sealed away for an excessive duration. The elegance of this approach lies in its lack of demand for power or endurance. You require solely tranquility. Tranquility fosters mindfulness, and mindfulness fosters linkage. Per studies from the Mayo Clinic and the Cleveland Clinic, even mild pelvic floor engagement enhances vascular flow and sustains robust erectile tissues. It concerns not the development of musculature as in the gymnasium. It involves arousing the internal regulatory apparatus that directs your vitality. Your perineum serves as that regulatory hub, and reacquainting yourself with its sensation constitutes the initial stride toward innate renewal. As you engage in this practice, allocate 5 minutes each morning to attend to this zone. You may perform it perched on your bed's edge or amid serene intervals during your day. Over time, you will observe increased heat in your lower region, more profound respiration, and an overall aura of serene vigor. Each of these signifies advancing circulation and renewed neural dialogue. How to activate it the right way? Gentlemen, hold this in mind. Your body is not overly aged to reply. It merely seeks your focus. The perineum forms your base, the origin of your vitality. Once you rouse it, all that lies above it gains advantage: your circulation, your vigor, your self-assurance. In the subsequent segment, I will unveil the second concealed toggle that eludes most men utterly. It resides not within your pelvis, but along your inner thigh, a formidable conduit that links straight to your body's principal vascular thoroughfare. Remain engaged, for once you master the art of unblocking that conduit, your whole apparatus commences revival. The second pressure point that revives a man's robustness rests unobtrusively along the interior of your thigh, precisely where your leg joins your lower abdomen. Most men overlook this location entirely, yet it harbors two of the most influential elements for male vitality: the femoral artery and the femoral nerve. The artery functions as the primary route transporting blood to your lower region, whereas the nerve dispatches cues that regulate feeling, motion, and reactivity in the pelvic area. When this conduit grows constricted or limited, which transpires following years of seated postures, suboptimal alignment, or lethargy, vascular movement slackens, transmissions diminish, and your vitality wanes unbeknownst to you. I recall one of my patients, Earl, a 68-year-old truck driver who had devoted decades to the driver's seat. He confided, "Doc, my thighs serve solely for ambulation. They bear no relation to occurrences below." I grinned and urged him to trust the method. For 2 weeks, he adhered to a straightforward daily custom that I am on the verge of disclosing to you. The outcomes utterly reshaped his viewpoint. Here is what lies within your reach. Position yourself seated or reclined in comfort, and rest your hand upon the inner fold of your thigh near the juncture of leg and groin. Employ your fingertips to follow that contour, applying soft, light pressure until you detect a sensitive or rigid zone. That rigidity signals a halt. It reveals where vascular movement has lagged. Exert mild, consistent pressure along that contour, respiring profoundly and unhurriedly throughout. As you proceed, envision that conduit widening, permitting new blood to traverse. You may sense a delicate heat diffusing down your leg or toward your lower abdomen. That denotes your correct execution. Per the Cleveland Clinic, the femoral artery and vein fulfill an essential function in oxygen transport and vascular welfare for the full lower body. When they become compacted or rigid, it impacts not merely your limbs, but also your pelvic operations. Soft arousal and habitual motion aid these conduits in remaining unobstructed, supple, and reactive. This explains, in part, the advantages of ambulation and elongation for men past 50. Yet when you merge those customs with deliberate contact and deep respiration, you generate a precise cue to your neural network, one that directs your body to amplify circulation in the most critical zones. The second pressure point, inner thigh pathway. Earl engaged in this ritual each morning for a mere 5 minutes. After 1 week, he reported, "Doc, an odd occurrence is unfolding. I can genuinely sense heat circulating anew." 2 weeks onward, he informed me, "I am arising with robustness I presumed lost long ago." His narrative is far from exceptional. Once men rekindle this conduit, their whole vigor transforms. They posture more upright, navigate with greater ease, and sense a deeper tie to their physique once more. Here is my counsel for enduring outcomes. Initiate each morning with 3 phases. Phase 1. Imbibe. Consume 1 glass of warm water immediately upon awakening. This aids in subtly diluting your blood and fostering superior flow. Phase 2. Respire profoundly for 5 minutes. Draw air slowly through your nose. Permit your abdomen to swell, then release it softly. This elevates nitric oxide, an innate substance your body employs to ease blood vessels. Phase 3. Exert soft pressure to the inner thigh contour, following it upward toward the groin, and conclude by sitting in stillness for a minute, allowing your body to absorb the sensation. When you integrate these customs with the initial pressure point beneath your pelvis, you commence reinstating complete dialogue between your heart, your brain, and your manhood. Blood resumes free movement, nerves reestablish links, and oxygen re-enters regions silenced for years. You are not compelling your body to exert. You are merely prompting it on natural functionality. Men who adhere to this with regularity frequently share that they sense not only greater robustness, but also serenity. Their rest enhances, their tension eases, and their daily vigor flows more evenly. That embodies the potency of vascular movement and mindfulness in tandem. Gentlemen, at this point, you have grasped two of the paramount toggles for male vitality: the route below you and the thoroughfare adjacent to you. Yet, to ensure this evolution endures, technique alone suffices not. You must comprehend how to convert these cues into enduring customs that fortify your self-assurance from within. In the forthcoming segment, I will recount the tales of men who transmuted modest daily patterns into transformative achievements, and the underlying science explaining why their triumphs stemmed not from chance but from physiology. Stay with me, because this ensuing segment will illustrate how to render these alterations enduring. When I initially commenced imparting these approaches, I found it astonishing how numerous men bore not solely corporeal rigidity, but also emotional burdens within their forms. Many believed they had faltered as men purely because their robustness had ebbed. But what emerged from my years of real patient transformations, clinical work, is that once you reinstate blood flow and reforge neural transmissions, a profounder element stirs as well. A perception of self that most men deemed forfeited eternally. Permit me to recount Robert, a 67-year-old former engineer who sought my counsel after years evading closeness. He disclosed, "Dr. Morgan, my wife believes I have ceased cherishing her. Yet the reality is I am merely embarrassed." He had experimented with tablets, additives, even peculiar apparatuses glimpsed online, but none sustained effect. I encouraged him to set all that aside momentarily and attend to something more elemental: his mindfulness. We initiated with the identical two pressure points you have just absorbed: the perineum to unseal the regulator, and the inner thigh conduit to liberate vascular flow. I directed him to allocate 5 minutes each morning and evening, merging it with unhurried respiration. After 3 weeks, Robert returned beaming. He announced, "I awoke this morning sensing heat for the first time in years. My body feels vibrant anew." But what most impacted me was his subsequent remark: "It transcends the corporeal. I sense more serene, more assured, more engaged with my wife." His tale serves as an ideal affirmation that vascular flow concerns not solely blood. It pertains to linkage between your body and your mind, between your corporeal welfare and your emotional harmony. Science corroborates this. The National Institutes of Health has recorded that adequate pelvic vascular flow not only bolsters erectile operations, but also aids in modulating hormones and temperament. When your blood flow advances, oxygen conveyance to the brain and adrenal glands advances correspondingly. This accounts for why numerous men describe sharper cognition, superior rest, and even diminished unease following these practices. Your body is engineered to mend itself, once supplied with apt cues. I frequently advise my patients to envision their vitality as a stream. In youth, that stream courses unbound, potent, unwavering, and replete with vigor. With time, obstructions accumulate: stress, suboptimal posture, absence of motion, superficial respiration. The stream vanishes not. It merely decelerates. The instant you unclog the route, the flow resumes. That is precisely the occurrence upon engaging these 2 points. You are not fabricating novelty. You are eliminating the impediments that prevented you from embodying your true self. Thomas, the veteran mentioned earlier, once shared a sentiment that continues to touch me. He stated, "Doc, upon sensing that rhythm anew, it felt as if my body expressed thanks for my persistence." That declaration encapsulates the essence of this endeavor. It transcends superficiality. It embodies appreciation for a daily routine to restore circulation. Body that has borne you through decades and persists in desiring to aid you effectively. Every man I have aided has encountered one shared instant. The day they recognize their renewed command, they cease faulting age, cease dreading deterioration, and commence grasping that wellness is a conversation. Your body heeds when you attend to it, and when you reply with attentiveness, it responds with robustness. In my practice, I have witnessed men in their 70s reconstruct their morning vitality innately. Some reclaim intimacy with partners after prolonged separation. Others merely derive pleasure from arising with vigor and intent. These constitute not wonders. They derive from reinstating what nature intended for you. Thus, if you have sensed severance, recall Robert's narrative. Recall Harold and Thomas. Their outcomes were not hasty remedies. They emerged from modest daily selections that rekindled what inherently resided within. Gentlemen, your vitality has not vanished. It merely awaits your reactivation of the power. In the subsequent segment, I will guide you through a straightforward daily ritual that sustains these conduits open, safeguards your vascular flow, and aids in preserving self-assurance for years ahead. It demands under 10 minutes daily, yet the yields can endure lifelong. Remain with me, because the ensuing moments will precisely demonstrate how to sustain this fresh robustness. Now that you comprehend the positions of your two principal vitality toggles, the root beneath you and the thoroughfare along your inner thigh, it is time to integrate everything into a straightforward daily cadence that maintains your body alert, reactive, and vibrant. The aim is not flawlessness, it is steadfastness. Because what your apparatus craves most past 50 is consistent, soft prompts that it retains the capacity to function, to circulate, to sense. Commence each morning prior to grasping your phone. Perch quietly on your bed's edge with both feet grounded. Position a modest cushion or towel beneath your pelvis such that the perineum rests softly upon it. Shut your eyes and draw 5 profound breaths. Sense your abdomen broaden upon inhalation and yield upon exhalation. Then gradually direct your attention downward to that foundational spot between your scrotum and anus. Permit your body weight to descend into that location, alleviating any rigidity. Engage in this for approximately 2 minutes. That elemental practice unseals the initial regulator of vascular flow. Next, relocate your How to Keep Confidence for Years hands to your inner thighs and follow the contour from your knee upward toward your groin with soft pressure. Perform this for another 2 or 3 minutes while respiring profoundly. This engages your femoral conduit, the vascular thoroughfare that conveys oxygen and heat to your entire lower region. You need not press forcefully or manipulate vigorously. Mild, persistent contact suffices. With time, you will commence noting heat diffusing and a serene vigor accumulating across your lower body. Succeed these 2 phases with a glass of warm water. Post-repose hydration eases your blood flow and bolsters nitric oxide generation, the innate molecule your body utilizes to maintain vessel relaxation. Then rise, elongate your legs, and draw 10 unhurried breaths before launching your day. The full sequence spans about 5 minutes, yet it dispatches a potent directive through your body. I am vital. I am linked. I am prepared. At evening, reiterate the identical respiration sequence prior to retiring. Emphasize easing over arousal. This instructs your neural network that security and gentleness form integral aspects of robustness. Over time, this daily observance retrains both your body and your mind to collaborate anew. You may ponder the duration to perceive outcomes. For most men under my guidance, understated shifts manifest within the initial 2 weeks. Greater heat, a faint rhythm, or amplified morning vigor. Within a month, many commence sensing rejuvenation, not solely corporeal but sentimental. The essence lies not in pursuing exertion, but in forging linkage. The greater your attentiveness, the more your body recalls. Permit me to conclude with this reflection. Your body was never crafted to dim silently. Every cell within you is configured for regeneration. Even at 60, 70, or 80, your blood vessels can still dilate, your nerves can still activate, and your self-assurance can still expand. All it demands is mindfulness, forbearance, and regularity. The two pressure points harbor no enchantment. They embody physiology. They prompt your apparatus on communication, on circulation, and on reactivity to existence anew. Harold, the retired teacher referenced earlier, once uttered something poignant. He remarked, "I now arise not merely robust, but appreciative that my body still attends." That appreciation marks the genesis of authentic vitality. Key lessons and final advice. When you regard your body as an ally rather than an affliction, it recompenses you with vigor, equilibrium, and self-assurance that endures. Thus, here is your undertaking. For the forthcoming 7 days, commit 5 serene minutes each morning to reforge ties with your body. Attend to your respiration. Exert soft pressure to your root and inner thigh, and merely sense. Post a comment below after a week to share your observations. Thousands of men globally traverse this identical path alongside you. Your narrative might furnish the inspiration another man requires. If this discourse aided you, engage the like button, subscribe, and disseminate it to a companion who stands in need of it. I am Dr. Julia Morgan, and I desire you to retain this. Maturation does not conclude vitality. It merely inaugurates comprehension of it. This video serves educational aims solely and does not supplant expert medical counsel. Every man's body is singular. If you encounter discomfort, alterations, or individual apprehensions, kindly confer with your healthcare specialist. Your wellness merits expert direction.